is the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and Krissy Vann. That's me. And we're taking you on a little off-roading.
And every single week, we're going to be joined by our dope friend, Richelle from True Grit Moto.
Woo! Hey, I floss.
And every week, we are going to ask each other stupid questions, and we're going to answer them. And why, you may ask? Because we can. All right, this is your Motovation
Off-road edition.
I love this question because I'm always, okay, just to preface this question, right? That's a word, preface.
Yep, it is.
Okay.
Brief it.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous when I do it, but when I do it, I always think I'm going to win. Do you know what I mean? Okay. Nope. Do you play the lottery and have you ever won?
No, I do not play the lottery. And so obviously, no, I have never won. I have had people buy them and gift them for me. And I'm like, all right, cool. But there's two reasons I do not really like them, if you will. One is the exact reason you just said. There's this weird excitement that you get around it. And then you genuinely for a moment believe you're going to win it. And then you start thinking of all the things you're going to do with it. And now you're like actually hoping that you're going to win it and all these things. And then when you don't, you're like, which is insanity because the odds of you winning it are so insane that so put yourself through an emotional roller coaster like that for something that's so like, you know, I'm just like, I think there's elsewhere to put the energies into than that. But also, I don't know if I actually ever would want to actually win the lottery because when you come into money hard and fast like that, and people look at it as like, it's a luck thing rather than an earned thing or a work towards thing, people also then feel entitled to that money too. And you can't unsee those parts of your family and friends if they show up in the weird little parts of ourselves that are there for a lot of people. And I would rather not know that version of my friends and family. And so it's a weird.
What if you could just not tell them? What if you?
I would just buy new friends and family.
Yeah, I would just be like,
all my riches.
Yeah, there's people. I saw a thing on TV not long ago where someone had a full blown mask on, like a hooded mask.
Yeah,
accepted on television because they didn't want people to know their identity.
That's smart.
Yeah, and like
that's what I would do for sure.
Right? So the woodworks, they just want something from you. So
absolutely
being anonymous. Yeah.
So it's one of those, but I really don't actually like that. That weird, almost denial high or unreal. I don't know what you'd call it. Just that like high you get from it. That's not weirdly real. It's almost like doing a drug. That you're just like, oh, there's a crash after that. And that's a weird one. Because why did
there's a reason why there's gambling addictions. It is basically the same.
Yes.
I spent a week working at Shoppers Drug Mart. Just 1 week. It's all I survived.
It's all you need.
You know, and literally you would have people that would come in and buy like huge mounds of scratch tickets and then take them to the side and they wouldn't even do the game. Like, you know, when you get one as a gift and you're like, fun, a crossword.
Yeah.
No, they would go straight for the barcode and then be back in line.
Yeah.
Scan them all. And then if there was something, buy more. And like they'd hang out for 10, 15 minutes and then
for that hit.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Like, I know that they do that when you play like when you go to like a bar and you have like the pull tickets or whatever. There's a place in Gig Harbor. I know this is weird. Gig Harbor, where it's literally pull tabs. It's like the pull tab place. They've got like 150 buckets of different pull tabs that you can get. And it's got on there like everybody that's won the most, how much they won. Like it's so pointed at people. Like,
oh, that's gross.
Yeah, the place is just stocked full of people just doing pull tabs. And they're just like zombies. Yeah, it's crazy.
I had an ex that was like really addicted to slots and stuff. It was very weird experience. And this is a guy that I like dated for 3.5 years, and we would go into casinos and he could not help himself. And he'd make deals like, oh, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to spend this. And then he, and we get in the fight. I'd go like wait in the car for like an hour and he'd come out and he would end up losing like his rent money and shit. And I didn't really understand. I knew there was an issue and I was just like, you have a problem. And he was just like, oh, come off it, but
did you get to eat at the free buffet that you earned from spending all your money?
No, where we went, we didn't get it. When we went to the casinos, they didn't offer you free shit. They just took your money. And if we wanted extra, that was a cost. But like, picture being also in like our small town, little, like real small town, like where he grew up, small town bars, just sitting at at the pole, whatever you call them, the slot machines.
Slots. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like sitting there and I'm 17. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Like,
This isn't for
like
me,
my Friday
man.
night.
Oh, how old was he?
Oh, he would have been 19 when we started dating to like 23.
Oh, so he's starting pretty young, getting into
Yeah.
that.
His brother was the same. They were like amazing dudes, like awesome people. But there was an addiction there, like
Yeah.
it wasn't anything against their character. It was an addiction. They both had it. It was weird to
Yeah.
watch though.
Brutal.
Anyways, you guys, lottery tickets, do you?
I'm like a Christmas gifter. So I'll normally buy my husband if Christmas falls on a draw, like a 24th or 25th. I'll put one in the old stocking.
That's a cool
And then
idea.
the only other time that I'm like a consumer of them is if I'm somewhere really obscure. Like if I've had to fill up gas in like Caramios or like being up in like far northern, because I'm always like, it's always weird little towns that win. So I'm like, maybe this is the place kind of thing. So it'll be an impulsive purchase in a strange land. But I will say I will never gift a lottery ticket to anyone aside from my husband or like in a
case they
card
win
to my sister.
And then you'll be pissed and like, give it back to me.
I'm not a good enough person to be like, I'm so happy for you.
Can you imagine?
I would be so pissed.
I'd be so pissed.
Yeah.
I would never get over it. I would be the piece of shit person that the winner has that totally turns and they're like, it's like, I didn't know you at all.
Right?
I
Or you'd
want
be like,
that. So I
can
get
I
half,
ask?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like sign it on the back of the ticket. Like it's a gift,
Imagine-
but kind of.
Right. And they give you like, they win like 25 million. And then they're like, here, this is for you. And there's an envelope and a card. And you're just like, oh my God, okay, this is going to be a check for some big money. And it's like $200.
Yeah.
It just says thank you.
I'll never gift it beyond, like, honestly, even like a $10,000. I don't think I'm a good enough of a person that's like, yay, good for you. I would be like, I bought that. And now I'm upset.
I'm glad you brought that up because if I've ever bought or if I ever buy one, I don't want to now buy one for anybody else because of that reason, because I never fully thought that through.
I didn't think about that one either.
That would torment my life.
I
That would torment my days. So good to
I
know.
used to love giving lottery tickets. Now I hate it.
You didn't realize the consequences.
I didn't even think about it. I was just like, oh, they're not going to win.
That's how it
Sorry,
happened.
anybody I bought a lottery ticket for.
Yeah. Oh man.
Chelsea.
No, I'm not a lottery ticket purchaser. I don't think I've ever bought one where you have to choose numbers, but it just made me think of one was bought for me once. And it was actually really smart method of trying to ask someone out. I was working at a clothing store.
Oh, I love this.
And this guy came in and he'd come in and looked around. I was, I think, 19 at the time. And he looked around and then he left and then he came back and he walked up to my till and he put a lottery ticket in front of me. And he said, if this wins, you have to take me out for dinner. And if it loses, then I'm taking you out for dinner.
Oh,
And my number
brilliant.
was back.
Yes.
I know. And it worked. I didn't
Did you
win.
go on a date?
I did. Yeah.
Well done.
He ended
Well
up
done,
being a
him. That's
complete
amazing.
Piece of shit, but that's not the point.
Oh,
But
Win on the
super
ass.
creative. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
quite impressed. And so, I ended up going out with him.
I'm surprised that
That's
all of us
fantastic.
don't play the lottery. I like usually you get a group of 5 people and like 4 people and they'll play, but not one of us is interested in it. I love that actually.
I do too, because I think we all kind of look at life a little bit more through the lens of not luck, but creating your experience and creating your
Yes.
luck and creating your versus relying on some magical thing to swoop in and change your life. We're very active of like, I'll change my own damn life. I'll make my own damn money. And like, especially in our housing crisis, it'd be nice to be able to just like come in. But it's also one of those things where like, I also don't want to put my energy into like going down lanes of like empty hope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird lanes that you're just like, sorry for anyone that's listening. That's
They're like, thank God you're
that's
not
a weird.
playing.
Like,
Gonna
I
win.
what? Is there something wrong with me? And I'm like, only half seas. Yeah, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Just
Agreed.
none of us have won, obviously. So all the more
Clearly.
power to you people.
Yeah, leaves more chance for you guys. Just look at it that way. If
You're
we're
welcome.
not, you're welcome, is what we're trying to say.
Chelsea, you have a mystery question for us.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Mystery.
Wait.
Mystery guest.
Okay. Okay. Have you been put under like anesthesia? And what was your experience going under or coming out of it?
Oh no, we missed one.
Do you answer your own question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You haven't answered it. Yes, you do.
Thought about it. I'm like, I have one.
Yes,
I
girl.
was so curious about all of yours. My like greatest fear has always been to be put under and cut open. Just scares the bejesus out of me. And I don't know.
Greatest fear. Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
like
yeah.
I was always so afraid of it. So when my appendix decided to rupture, fun fact, on the exact same day as our friend Kim,
So weird.
it was the weirdest thing. Both got our appendix out together on a Friday. Anyway, I was so afraid of it that I was almost trying to barter with the doctor, even though I know that there's no. I know, I'm a nurse. Like, come on. I was like, are you sure I can't just do a round of IV antibiotics? Like, are you sure I can't? You can't. And he was like, come on. I'm like,
Yeah,
They went to put me under and I went into full panic. And I just sat up on the bed and I was like, I can't, like just full panic. And so eventually I laid down and they went to put, they go to put you out. And she goes, so you're a nurse? And I was like, yeah. Well, really? Like, I was like, yeah. And she goes, well, what do you do? And I said, oh, I work on a street team and it's called, and I was out.
Yeah.
Like, I work in emergent surgery. And they're like,
Right?
she needs to never work in that again.
And then when I woke up, the first thing I asked was if they were able to do it laparoscopically or not. I wanted to know if they had fully chopped me open or if they had done 3 little incisions and done it that way, which is way better for scarring. And she went, oh yeah, it was laparoscopically. And I was like, thank you. And went back to sleep.
Oh my God. I love that.
When you were saying about like, oh, I have this like deep fear and I was freaking out. I was thinking, I didn't have it before, but now I do. When my nurse friend talks about having this fear, now I'm like, it's like if a pilot's like, yeah, I have a deep fear of flying. You're like, well, now I do.
What does he know that we
And if you're afraid to fly, you know things I don't know.
Yeah. I think
I'm going to take your word for it.
If you know too much, it's better to know.
No.
Better to know less.
It's a less is more situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's one of them.
I'd be that person that gets the utensil like sewn back up in them or in ourselves.
Where better in your abdomen? Yeah.
Yeah. They're just like, oof, we've left a spatula in there. Wrong profession. Anywho. Okay. Are we ready? This one's going to search your soul. So get excited.
Oh, shit.
Would you rather be put in a cage with a grizzly bear or a tank with a bull shark?
Ugh.
I have
Grizzly bear.
Grizzly bear?
Grizzly 100%.
Why?
I mean, a bull shark, I guess they don't really attack you, right?
No, they absolutely. They get a lot of times misconstrued for the great whites. The bull sharks are actually the ones that are the most aggressive.
I'm glad we had this conversation now so Richelle doesn't go on vacation and they'd be like, watch out, there's bull sharks in there. Bull sharks, no problem. Like, go for a swim and never hear from you again.
Never felt so confident.
I'm just going to go up and pet that guy because I heard he's super safe. Because I don't want to be underwater. I don't like being in water. So
Are you out in the open here or are you in a cage?
You're in a tank or
You're in a cage or a tank.
together with them.
Yeah.
Together. You're not in like a shark tank. You know what
Nope.
I mean? Where
You are
it,
like
you're
in the
like,
cage.
You're up in it.
Yeah, you're in it. Exposed.
Oof.
I think I could reason with the bear.
I am so with you because honestly, I was like grizzly for sure for that same reason. Like start out, stand up, make yourself seem tall. Eventually befriend the grizzly. Before you know it, the grizzly's like, let's snuggle. We start a life together. We make weird grizzly human babies. Like there's a whole
Oatmeal and
how long
shit.
are we in this cage? Are we
Oatmeal and shit. Goldilocks.
It's a commitment.
Cozy, got a cozy bed, got a little bed, got a big bed.
You make a grooming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hibernate for the winter,
What
you
a-
know?
Yeah.
What about you, Chels? Bull shark, isn't it?
Yeah. I have a big fascination with sharks. Like I'm sure being ripped apart by one would be pretty gnarly, but I always think of that movie, The Revenant, with the bear with Leonardo DiCaprio, and he rips that man to shit, but repeatedly, like it's a game. Like it looks like the worst torture of all time. So that image in my head, I'm like, nah, I'll take my chances with the shark.
Our faces.
Hit them hard enough right between the eyes. Apparently sharks, you can like kind of stun them, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be dead for sure.
If you flip them on their backs, they go paralysis, but they definitely are a little big. I'm not sure.
Good
how
luck flipping the bull shark.
Right? Just there's Laurie in there. I got this.
Casual, like
Come in these fins.
You know, Leonardo DiCaprio did a movie with a shark as well as a bull. So, or bear.
What movie?
The whatever she said, the Reverend, and then the beach.
The beach? He's with a shark in the beach? Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
That's right.
The shark almost kills him and it makes him famous.
Right,
And
right.
he gets a tooth and
Oh,
and he was like, oh yeah. And then the shark came up to me and then we met eyes, and he like talks about it like it's some spiritual moment, but really he just freaks the shit out and then just gets a good luck stab in.
See, he survived the shark, but not the grizzly. I'm on to something.
if Leo says so.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Krissy, what's your answer?
Well, I kind of hopped on the grizzly train.
Oh,
But
right.
they
You were
would
gonna,
go
that's right. You had
very
babies.
long.
I forgot. You had
Yeah.
goddamn babies.
Do you even listen?
No. I was picturing lovemaking to the shark. Yeah, when she does it.
Seriously.
What would you pick, Laura?
So I kind of went down two different avenues. I was like, all right, I would probably choose the bear because the bear I'm on ground. And so I don't have to like think about surviving the bear or the shark and the water because I could drown. But then I was also like, that's a nightmare because you just are like, how long are you in the cages? How long are you in the tanks for? So I was like, I could just drown myself before I get killed or ripped apart by anyone, which might be an easier death. But then I was like, am I trying to live or am I trying to die? Which is also weird because this was my question.
Mm-hmm.
So I should have.
You should know.
I should know. And so I landed on the bear because I thought kind of the same thing of like, there's a chance I could just play dead and be ignored or at least like rolled around a bit. But there's a better chance of survival on ground than in water. Because at some point, either the shark's going to kill me or I'm going to drown from exhaustion. Just lay on my back at the top and just hope he thinks I'm a floating log.
And then they test you. Don't they like poke you and test you to see what you're...
A lot of
They're
times
like-
they'll like only take a bite, they say, because they're seeing if you're actual food or not, but they don't actually like the taste of us. So a lot of times if you're bit by a shark, you're not eaten by a shark. You're just bit by a shark and then they bleed out.
And then they're like, oh, blood. And then they're like, no, this meat needs to be tenderized.
We're just like,
But
"Oof,
you have
this
to go
doesn't taste
through
good."
like rejection to be like, I don't even taste good. Like those are your
Yeah.
last moments. Like the shark didn't even want me.
Gross.
What was the point of my existence
What was the point?
if I'm not at least sustenance? All right, Krissy.
All right. Krissy, what career would someone have to make you absolutely not want to date them?
The person who does the stuff for a funeral when the bodies are done.
Mortician?
Why?
But yeah. I would always be worried that I would smell it.
Oh,
I'm a huge
interesting.
smell person.
Yeah.
So
I thought we
if
were gonna go ghosts,
Yeah.
but
Also that.
That's
if they were like a ghost hunter, I'd be like, can I come? I don't need to sleep for weeks. I want to be a part of this. But if they were like, if it had to do with smells, you know, like if they were like, they picked up dead animals on the side of the road or like, I don't like it. They got to smell good all the time.
Right.
That's my piece.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Mine would be a professional athlete. Because there's a good chance they're just going to cheat on your ass. I know that's a very stereotypical answer, but it's very true. And so I would it would be the hardest thing in the world to trust them. And, and then also the amount that they're on the road traveling that like you fully come second to all of it. No, just no. That or like, it seems like a hard left, but real estate agents that are like really, really talented at what they do because they have to be on call all
the time.
time. So no matter what you're doing, you get interrupted by it and your life is that phone, quite your livelihood. So I would have a really hard time ever dating an ambitious realtor because they, like I have friends that like know how to set boundaries on it, but they live in places where you can and people understand it. But then there's like certain cities and certain places where like you could lose tremendous amounts of business if you are just not like boom right there on the phone.
totally.
Blech.
That's a good one. Chelsea.
I think if it were someone that was involved in, say, like politics that I really don't believe in.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, if it was, on
Or
the
politics in general.
yeah, probably politics in general, but especially if it was like, someone that is on the stance of like hoorah guns and no gay marriage and like fuck the homeless and like didn't care about if it was anything of that, big no.
Even if just belief systems.
Yeah.
Hard
Or
no.
someone who was like extremely religious, I wouldn't fly for me.
Oh, that's another one, right? That's a good one.
Like the rich ones that are like, come get a membership to my church.
Yeah. No offense to anybody who's religious out there, but I mean, it just wouldn't work for me. And like all the people that are closest to me, it just like wouldn't land.
Right. Those are good ones.
So mine would be a divorce lawyer.
Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
Primarily, like, you ever see those commercials and they're like, has your spouse blah, blah, blah. Like, and they're just always like a bit gnarly and ruthless. Like,
You'd be
they
so
literally
jaded.
make a life out of like ruining some other half person's
Yes.
life.
And imagine if you
Finding
had
all
to
the
divorce
dirt.
that person.
Yes, and like digging through texts, and I feel like they would have this insatiable bias that you like always preparing a case out of you, being like, I'm gonna get this bitch.
Yep.
Or like always like, oh, I know what she's doing. I've seen so many people do this. And you're like, no, I really was out for coffee with a friend. And
Yeah,
they're
they're
like,
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 That's what
oh, that all of
Timothy
those are
said
good
last
answers.
week, and he fucking
Better
around.
call Saul.
Yeah.
Those
Those
are all
really
great.
good answers.
And all
That was
like-
a great question.
Well done, squad.
Well done, squad. That was good. Okay, Richelle.
Oh,
I'm gonna hear the question, then I'm gonna pee, but you continue while I do that.
okay. This question is. Have you ever had chaffy nipples? Okay. So here's the thing. Yeah. So have you ever had a chafed nipple? Okay. So this is why I bring this up, because this weekend when we went camping up at Sloquet,
Yeah.
I ran around pretty well all one whole day with just a shirt on, and my left nipple chafed. Like, it was so bad. And then it was just the worst for the rest of the time. I was just so aware of it, and it was just horrible. So I didn't know what to do with it.
You put a band. So a lot of runners, they put like
Yeah.
a Band-Aid over their nipples because they get nipple chafe when they run. So like that's a big runner thing. And
Really?
yeah. And
Tell me
so-
one of you have seen the Office episode where it's the marathon and Andy gets chafed nipples and they're bleeding. Someone out there listening will know what I mean.
Oh my gosh,
My family will know
yes.
what I mean.
I don't remember, but I'm going to watch it now. I love The
Oh, yeah.
Office.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I've had it only once, and
Yeah.
it's because anything that goes against it up, you kind of have to like put a Band-Aid on it until it heals whenever you have to wear a shirt. Because every time anything touches it,
It's it.
just like, like any, yeah. I sounded, what was that?
It was sexual.
Was that the chickapiny bird?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that chick-chicka.
Mating call of the Chachachini.
Chicka-chicka.
It's
Yeah.
horrible. Okay,
Horrible.
so-
Makes my
so
nips
you've
hurt
had
right
it.
now.
You've had
Just
it, Laurie.
once I've had it. I can't remember why, but I did.
Right. What about you guys?
No.
Also hard no. Like, I've definitely plucked a unsavory hair off of
Right.
them, but I mean, don't pretend that there's not a rogue nip hair that gets out there it's the
I love how we
I
say
have-
like one rogue hair nip. Like, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
there's a bushel.
Mine's
Times. Like we're
mine's
not,
terrible.
I'm not pretending
A
anything.
bushel.
Right? Yeah, a bushel.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Like, you can see it in your bra. You're like,
Or a hair on my neck. Oh, I've taken pictures before where I'm like, look at that, it's attached. I get a chin hair at least once a month now, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
wiry and it's white. And I'm just like, well, that's a permanent thing. It looks like it's just a part of my being from now on.
I have a whole bunch. In fact, I caught them on fire this weekend, and
What
it
was
singed them.
that? What was that about? I saw that.
Megan was like, my partner was like, you look like you actually have a full, real curly beard coming in right now. And I was like, sick.
How did it catch on fire?
I just got too close to the fire, and I got my eyebrows, my eyelashes, and my chin hair
Richelle.
I know. I was
Love it.
like, oh, it was so hot. I was like, what's that smell?
Your face.
It was my freaking face. And I was like, oh, babe,
Quite
did I
literally your
burn
face
something?
on fire.
Oh, it was terrible. It was so funny though. It smelled so bad.
Yeah.
It's all those moments that I think you guys can agree that in your back of your head, you're like, oh man, that happened. And then almost instantly you're like, oh, another story for the fucking back pocket. Like I'm almost you're just like, oh, but then seconds later, you're like, oh, worth it. Like worth it.
I wouldn't do it on purpose, but I'm glad it happened.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chelsea, you're next up, I think.
Oh, what was even the question again? Oh, the chafy nipples.
Oh yeah, no, I said
Oh,
no.
right. We finished
Chelsea.
it. Right. So we got Chelsea, it's your question.
You
right?
even listen?
Yeah.
Do you even listen?
You just went off-roading with the Motovation Podcast, hosted by Laurie Joy Kingwell and myself, Krissy Vann.
And of course, a special thank you to Richelle from True Get Moto.
Whoop, boss it.
Never miss an episode by hitting like or subscribe. Connect with us on Instagram at Motovation Podcast and visit our website at themotovation.com. And in the meantime, full tanks, full throttle.
I think this is good though. It's like healthy, you know, like people will be like, oh my God, I don't
What?
floss.
Plus, it'd be so hard not to laugh to get through this intro.